The Skirball Cultural Center was established as a tent of meeting where people of different backgrounds would come together and learn about one another and learn about a common purpose for a more hopeful world. The story of Noah's Ark is an ancient tale with hundreds upon hundreds of parallel stories because it's truly the story of humankind. For all of us on earth have experienced storms. We found ways to work together to create temporary shelter. And all of us are a people of hope, of second chances. And the rainbow represents that hope. So to have that story within that tent we call the Skirball Cultural Center is a remarkable renewal in theme for what established the Cultural Center in the first place.
Noah's Ark here at the Skirball is really as diverse as its inhabitants and all the different influences and the stories and the histories. So we've aspired to take the best of what would be from a cultural center, the best of what would come from nature, the best of what might come from a museum, and to take from children's museums their approach of human-to-human interaction and open-ended learning. And we've mixed them all together into this incredible place we call Noah's Ark.
The building of the Ark was truly a collaborative work of love.
One of the sort of guiding principles for us at the Skirball is that all people deserve and can appreciate great things. And so I think we went out to look for a whole team and create a team of people who could really make a transformative, beautiful experience, an experience of great artistry that everyone could relate to.
I'm a principal with a firm called Olson Sundberg Kundig Allen Architects, and we're an architecture firm. Yet we are working on a project that is essentially a children's museum or children's destination.
We like to sort of take every project and try to make a better world in one way or another. You're not sure how it's going to end up, but this one, you know, is so important because it deals with families and children. And children's lives are kind of just beginning, so the influences that they have at a young age really do make a huge difference.
We've tried to imagine the experience as a child would experience it, of course, and yet not in a condescending way. We feel that this is really for all ages. So it's very important to us in the design of Noah's Ark that things be touchable and that things be interactive.
One of the best ways to sort of engage people and have them sort of grasp the issues that are being covered in the exhibit is through the fact that you can approach it from a variety of different levels. Not just see it, but you can touch it, you can hear it, you can feel it, and that you can experience it in that ways. But one of the big values for the Skirball Cultural Center has been for children and families to sort of play together.
Our firm's role has been primarily in the Ark as far as the physical manifestation. At the very beginning, we did a lot of research on the real Ark, Noah's Ark, and we looked it up in the Bible, and you know, there are all these stories and myths. But in the Bible, it actually spells it out, and it was bigger than a football field. To a little kid, the real Ark would have been like a city block full of buildings. It was huge. And so we wanted to do an exhibit that appealed to adults as well as to children. And so, you know, many of the animals are actually quite sophisticated. They're really beautiful pieces of art, or wonderful folk art.
We developed this idea that there would be different types of animals that you would experience on the project. There are kinetic animals that will happen, where the animals actually move and come to life. So staff members will be able to engage these animals. There can be parades that move through the space and so forth. And Chris Green developed that portion of the project.
The inspiration for the animals was essentially there were some rules, which was they were transparent and they were repurposed or found objects. The resources that are available for this kind of work is very different than if you had a sculpture that was cordoned off with velvet ropes. It's something that you're allowing people to touch that. So what you're talking about steel and wood and incredible durables. So there was like a clear decision about what materials were there. And the inspiration really just came from stuff. Just going out and walking through an antique store and being like, those are ears. So I put the shoehorns on the deer. I mean, those were things that wasn't from my mind directly, they were from experience. It's really about getting to know these animals on a personal level, you know, intimacy, if that can be the right word, you know, closeness, proximity, and the wow factor, which is all about being a child, and adults are the same way. And you can't help it when you see something come to life. If you see an anaconda, it takes 5 people to move this anaconda through space. You get the magic of the animal moving, but you also get the magic of 5 people moving together. So we're borrowing from this tradition of puppet theater and using that to bring life into an exhibit that's rich from the beginning. When you see animals put together
out of unlikely materials, like a bicycle seat as a head, and you know, all these different things, or a saw as a body and the handle of the saw as the face. Then you go back out into the world and you start seeing animals everywhere, like your car becomes an animal.
But then there were other animals that we felt were foreground animals, animals that you're going to be able to hug, climb on, and touch. And then there are other animals that will actually be sort of up in the rafters and surrounding you, who are holding the story, so that you can never really forget that this whole thing is about bringing these animals and working together for survival.
The process of bringing these animals to life starts obviously from the sketch. And then once we take that sketch, we break it down into the working parts that we can put together. And it's really a collaboration of all the departments that work here, even the metal, the scenic department, the props departments. Once we get it built, the painters will paint it real nice, and the props department will put all the little details in it that help it pop out.
Having the freedom to do work that I do personally, my aesthetic, but also having this input by people who understand building code, as well as where the space is going, as well as the vision, and having a collaborative thrust to it, where just by the spirit of the team, we're able to work together.
Between everybody, all the way from the original design to the crew on the floor that cut them and put them together, the scenic artists and the props people, I think they're just one of the nicest projects and funnest projects I've worked on.
It's important to realize that you've been thinking and imagining and sort of collaborating on this project for almost 5 years. And so the numbers of meetings and drawings and models and conceptions and trying to figure out what this project should be, and you have a picture in your head the entire time of what it will look like and how it will be, and then to now, as it's coming together, to walk into this space, there's really no feeling like it. It's particularly when it's lived up to what you've been imagining to be.
I don't think I ever imagined in my wildest dreams the extent to which it would come true, because the goals were so ambitious. In terms of seeing children and families here of such different backgrounds, all having a kind of visceral reaction to the place, that eye-opening, you know, sort of finding the child in each of us.
The reward that we all treasure the most is to see the rapt faces, the jaws dropping of the young children who are encountering this ark and these animals and this experience for the first time. And we can hope for no greater reward than that.
It's indescribable in that you dream something and you hope for something in your heart, in your mind, in your imagination. And until people actually inhabit the space, it doesn't come to life.
We at the Skirball were willing to take a risk in building something that had purpose. And it wasn't a perfect production. We stumbled, we came back, and what kept us together as a team was that there was a mission statement that was so important to us that we know that at the very end we will have harmonized our talents and built something that is truly a timely experience of a timeless story.